I'll never forget the day I decided to go undercover at my own bank. My name is Marcus Johnson, and I'm the CEO of First Horizon Bank, a small but growing bank in the heart of the city. I've worked my whole life to get here, starting as a teller and climbing my way up. But no matter how high I climbed, I never forgot where I came from, or the struggles my community faces every day. I grew up in a neighborhood where banks weren't exactly welcoming places. I remember my mom telling me stories about how she'd been treated when she tried to open an account or get a loan. She'd say, "Marcus, they look at us like we don't belong there." Those words stuck with me. They fueled my determination to make things better, to create a bank that truly served everyone, no matter who they were or where they came from. But lately, I'd been hearing whispers. Customers, especially Black and Latino customers, were complaining about being treated differently. They said they felt watched, questioned, and dismissed. At first, I didn't want to believe it. I thought, not my bank, not after everything I've done to make it inclusive. But the whispers kept coming, and I couldn't ignore them anymore. So one morning, I woke up with an idea. I wanted to see for myself how my bank treated its customers, especially people who looked like me. I'm a Black man, and I know how it feels to be judged by the color of your skin before anything else. I wanted to experience it firsthand, to understand what my customers were going through. I put on an old pair of jeans, a worn-out hoodie, and a baseball cap. I didn't look like a CEO anymore. I looked like an ordinary guy trying to make ends meet. I even left my watch and wedding ring at home. I wanted to blend in completely. I walked into one of our branches, the one in a neighborhood where most of the customers were Black or Latino. The moment I stepped inside, I felt a strange mix of emotions. On one hand, I was proud of the space we'd created, bright, clean, and welcoming. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The tellers seemed friendly enough, but there was a tension in the air, like they were on guard. I took a deep breath and approached the counter. My heart was pounding as I handed the teller a withdrawal slip for $500 from my own account. I'd made sure there was plenty of money in it, so there shouldn't have been any issues. The teller, a young woman with a polite smile, took the slip and started typing on her computer. Then she paused. Her smile faded, and she looked at me with a hint of suspicion. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, "but I can't process this withdrawal right now. I'll need to speak with my manager." My stomach dropped. "Why?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "Is there a problem with my account?" She hesitated. "It's just standard procedure," she said, but her tone didn't feel right. It felt like she was hiding something. A few minutes later, the branch manager, a middle-aged man with a stern expression, came over. He glanced at me, then at the slip, and then back at me. "Sir, we're going to need some additional identification before we can process this," he said firmly. "I gave you my ID," I replied, trying to keep my frustration in check. "What else do you need?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned in and lowered his voice. "We just need to be careful," he said. "We've had some issues lately." I felt a lump in my throat. I knew what he meant. They thought I was trying to steal money. They thought I didn't belong there. And it wasn't because of anything I'd done. It was because of how I looked. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell them who I was, to demand an explanation. But I didn't. I just stood there, feeling small and invisible, the way I had so many times before I became CEO. It was like all the progress I'd made, all the barriers I'd broken, didn't matter in that moment. I was just another Black man being treated like a suspect. Finally, after what felt like forever, they processed the withdrawal. But the damage was done. I left the bank with my $500, but my heart was heavy. I couldn't stop thinking about all the people who'd been treated this way, people who didn't have the power or the position to fight back. When I got back to my office, I called an emergency meeting with my leadership team. I told them what had happened, and I could see the shock on their faces. "This isn't who we are," I said, my voice shaking, "but it's who we've become, and we need to fix it." That day changed everything for me and for the bank. We implemented new training programs to address unconscious bias. We hired more staff from the communities we served, and we made it clear that discrimination in any form would not be tolerated. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. But I knew we had to do better. because no one should ever feel the way I felt that day, like they didn't belong in their own bank. Looking back, I realized that going undercover was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But it was also one of the most important. It reminded me why I started this journey in the first place, to create a place where everyone feels welcome, no matter who they are. And I won't stop until we get there. Hey everyone, if this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you why we need to keep having these conversations, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps spread awareness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced something like this? Let's talk about it. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to share real, powerful stories that need to be heard. Lastly, share this with your friends and family. The more people who see this, the more we can bring awareness and change. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Let's keep pushing forward, together.